All righty, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch. It is a Money Monday edition. I have been talking for a while on this show, like 2 years now, about what I think about Bitcoin, how it's an alternative asset class that you should have a little bit of a sliver in your portfolio. So keep your eye on it. Bitcoin at 33,000, up $2,000 since we came into the hour. So it is making a little bit of a comeback. And as I mentioned earlier, Dow in the middle of a slide here. It got almost back to even on the day, but now down nearly 100. I think the Dow is going to start spitting blood very soon because when you look at all this stimulus that's going to come out of this administration, when you see some of the policies they're going to foist upon us, like the Green New Deal and taking away guns and other things that they're going to make their top priorities, people are going to realize that this economy is going in the tank. Jobs are going to flee the country, and lo and behold, spending is going to devalue the dollar to a point where people are going to be looking for alternative asset classes. And one of those that's showing itself to be even more widely adopted every day is Bitcoin. So you might want to learn a little bit about that. We're going to learn a little bit about what's going on in Washington and with the president by someone who's a way better expert than me. We're joined right now by Wayne King. He's a partner in Fidelis Government Relations, former Deputy Chief of Staff to Congressman Mark Meadows. And Mark Meadows is now Donald Trump's Chief of Staff. Hey, Wayne, thanks for joining us today on Liquid Lunch. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Glad to be with you.
So, Wayne, tell me what you guys down at Fidelis Government Relations, how are you guys preparing now for this new era? I still support the president. I wish there was something that would come out. I wish the emergency broadcast system would go off and Trump would say, we got him. But to me, it doesn't seem like a reality. What do you make of this mess?
Well, Michael, I think you're right. I support the president as well and have for the last 4 years of him. I feel like his policies speak for themselves. I mean, he's been a great president. The policies that he's enacted with Republican members of Congress, they've done a great job. And I think we'll be able to point to that certainly after January 20th. And as the history books are written from now on, I think that we will. It's going to take a while for someone to admit that Donald Trump was a good president, I think. But I think that he definitely will go down as one of the most historic presidents. It was some of the best economy, best job numbers. Obviously, I'm sure your show talks about that a good bit. I mean, the economy of the United States has been in a great position. And now we're already seeing our gas prices start up. You're seeing the D.C. Mayor Bowser's already enacting or talking about enacting, shutting down the restaurants and businesses again in D.C. for indoor dining again. So you're seeing things just creep up. It's close to January 20th. We got just a few days before Vice President Biden will be inaugurated, and then he'll be the president of the United States. And we just have some really challenging times ahead.
Before this scamdemic was foisted upon us by the Chinese Communist Party, like you said, Donald Trump was racking up huge economic wins, lowest unemployment rate in history, lowest African-American unemployment rate in history, highest new home purchases by minorities, highest new business starts by minorities. He was appealing to every part of the U.S. society. He made monumental gains in the election with votes from Latinos, with votes from African Americans. All the places that Donald Trump was, we were told that he was such a bad president, minorities were winning more than anyone under Donald Trump. And yet, somehow or another, these people, I'm calling it a technocracy now because it sure looks like Jack Dorsey has appointed himself the king of the world.
Sure. Well, I think you're exactly right. And I like your analogy there. And it does seem like when they start talking about censorship and they're censoring the president of the United States and other political leaders and other people that just have a view about anything, they start censoring that. Now we've seen Parler went down overnight. And Twitter, even on my personal Twitter, I had probably a little over 1,000 people drop off in the last 72 hours or so. I mean, obviously they're trying to censor conservatives and patriots and Republicans just in general that believe in this administration. Obviously, we don't condone the violence that happened last week at the U.S. Capitol. Of course not. But we do believe that the policies that have been enacted by this administration have been pro-business and just very pro blue collar worker policies. And I think that Donald Trump's going to go down as a great blue collar president. We've seen time and time again, as you just listed out the facts about the unemployment with African Americans and Asian Americans and women and Latinos. I mean, just so important to the economy. And now President-elect Biden even came out not too long ago and said we're going in for some dark days ahead. Michael, unfortunately, I believe that's true.
Well, look, Joe Biden said it's going to be a cold, dark winter back in the last debate, and he keeps talking in these ominous tones where they're really setting the stage for what we know is coming. Unfortunately, it seems like the social media companies, and this comes down, in my view, this comes down to the ruling class of Jack Dorsey, okay, Mr. Bezos from Amazon, and Mr. Zuckerberg from Facebook and Instagram, right?
Exactly right.
So you got three people, and Eric Schmidt over at Google, he stepped down as CEO, but he's one of the key driving forces there. Those four people seem to be running the world right now, and I think they sent the big signal to everyone that, hey, all you peasants better get in line, because if we could shut down the president of the U.S., imagine what we can do to you.
Well, I think you're exactly right, and the American people should be scared about that. I mean, we live in a pretty dark and dismal days ahead whenever there's censorship. I mean, you could literally not be able to watch your church service. I've had several friends of mine that have reached out to me and talked about, their church is not open right now, and they're watching their church services online. They're concerned that they may be even censored, and I think that that is something that we really need to be able to do that. I mean, no one has a right to censor anybody's public speech. And Jack Dorsey, like you said, and Zuckerberg, and they're just literally want to take over the world. And unfortunately, right now, they're in a pretty good position, which is really sad. And this new administration will never push back on that, Michael. And that's what your viewers need to understand is they will never push back on the extreme viewpoints of these guys. They will be lockstep with them. They've given thousands and thousands of dollars to the Biden campaign. So we need to be really watching these folks, and people need to push back at an all-time. I mean, we need people to really push back on this.
Yeah, no, these guys put the evil in devil as far as I'm concerned, because they've to me they finally exposed themselves, and all of us suckers took the bait, with getting on all these social media platforms and making it a part of our life. Little did we know that all along they were using all these psychological tactics to get us addicted to social media, to look for notifications, to try to shape our perceptions by slowly and incrementally showing us different types of news that it may not be stark, but little by little they want to move our perceptions. And there's this movie I keep talking about. It's called The Social Dilemma, where all these people, the founders of Pinterest and some of the early engineers in Google and YouTube and Facebook, are saying that the idea all along wasn't to get you to buy things. It was to get you to change your perception of what you want to buy from them. So it's all been a mind control game. And now they're basically dropping the hammer on us like, the movie, I'm from New York, so there's this old famous mobster movie called Goodfellas, where a bunch of bikers come in the bar and they start smacking people around and making a ruckus, and then the head mobster comes in and locks the door and says, you know what, guys, now yous can't leave. And that's what Google and Facebook and Twitter, I think, are doing to us. You're going to play under our rules, or we're going to lock you up.
Well, I think that's exactly right. When I say push back, I'm talking about talking to your members of Congress in a civil way, civil discourse. I'm not talking about anarchy and protesting with violence and stuff like that. I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. We certainly believe in the right to protest, but not these violent extremists and things that are going on now that they're trying to make all out that all these people are Trump supporters and stuff. I mean, the bottom line is all these folks aren't Trump supporters. There may have been some Trump supporters there. That doesn't mean that we should, wrap everybody together. These people should be held accountable for that, but we need to hold the big tech giants accountable as well. And I think that we, as Americans and as people that believe in freedom loving society that we do, I think that we need to be really sure that you're electing the right members of Congress, the right senators, and the American people deserve to talk to them in a civil, diplomatic way. And you need to, as American citizens, you have a right to talk to your representative. And that's what needs to happen right now. We need to make sure that they understand that we don't agree with that.
All right.
We don't agree with the censorship.
All right, Wayne, we got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us today. We got to have you back. Wayne King from Fidelis Government Relations, former Deputy Chief of Staff to Mark Meadows. We'll talk to you soon, brother. Stay safe. Keep up the good fight. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll come back and wrap up a Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Biz TV.